Hello everyone. Today we're going to be talking about student affairs organizational charts, and we're going to be taking a look at two different colleges around the country. And the two different colleges that we're going to be looking at today are Northern Arizona University, which is in Flagstaff, Arizona, and Sacramento City College, which is in Sacramento, California. So let's take a look at Northern Arizona University first. And let me just tell you a little bit about NAU. Number one, NAU is my alma mater. I have my bachelor's degree from NAU. NAU is located in Flagstaff, Arizona, and this is a picture of what it looks like. You can see the campus there in the bottom right-hand corner. The population of Flagstaff is 67,500. NAU is definitely, or I should say Flagstaff is definitely a college town. NAU has been around for a very long time, over 100 years, since 1899 when it started out as a teacher's college. For the fall of 2013, there were over 19,000 students at the university. There are branches of NAU around the state, but most of the students go to school in Flagstaff. It is a four-year public university. There are 7 colleges within the university, and they also house a graduate college. Over 7,000 students live on campus. 2 of my sons are part of that 7,000. So let me tell you a little bit about student services and what I found as far as how their student services run. And the picture that you see there in the background is their Gateway Student Services Center, and we'll talk about that in a minute. One of the things that I did find is that they do have a different type of advisement for their first year students as opposed to their sophomore year students and up. As I said, in the background there is the Gateway Student Success Center, and they have career and academic advising housed here. And this is for the first year students. One of the goals of the student services that I found in their mission and goals, and I thought that this helped in deciding what type of student services they provide, is that they build collaborative partnerships with campus departments, students, and community members to provide a seamless educational experience. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. As far as advisement for students who are sophomores and higher, they have academic advisors, and those advisors are housed within the colleges themselves. So if a student is an engineering student, then they would go to the engineering advisor, which is housed in the College of Engineering. A couple of other things that I found out about student services that is linked across departments are their residential learning communities, and their residential learning communities are again geared toward their first year students. They do have a very strong first year student focus. What the students do that first year looks a lot different than what the other students do from sophomore year on up. And those residential learning communities are mostly major driven. A few of them are topic driven, but most are major driven. I do want to talk a little bit about the model of student affairs practice. Again, you'll see one of the oldest buildings that is housed or that is on the ASU campus, and that is called the Old Main Building. The model of student affairs practice that I believe is happening at NAU is the seamless learning model. And the description of that is that student learning experiences are integrated across all aspects of student life. And when we go back to that quote before, I believe that quote that was stated in their goals is definitely a model of the seamless learning. The assumptions of the seamless learning model are that all members of the institution contribute to learning, and these are taken out of our book. And why do I believe the organization is patterned this way? It is a large public four-year university. Student services is housed on many areas on campus. Some are in buildings that are 100 years old, are in newer areas of the campus. And so I do believe that they have to make a conscious effort of coming out of those silos and making sure that they are all working together, especially with some of the initiatives that they have on campus as far as the freshman program that they have, as far as advising and counseling, and those residential learning communities. The organization is wide and the staff is highly specialized, as you'll see in a minute. There is one senior vice president. Directly underneath the senior vice president are two associate VPs. Underneath those two, there are 21 to 25 programs, depending on the VP. Every single one of those programs have different leads, so it is definitely highly specialized. Also underneath the senior vice president are two executive directors, and those executive directors oversee 3 to 5 programs. And again, those programs all have different leads also. One of the things that I would change would be to make this more of a one-stop model. Because the departments such as especially after freshman year, advising, counseling, financial aid, testing, because those are all housed in different buildings and sometimes in different parts of the campus, it is really difficult to go from one to the other to the other to the other. So if you want to talk to somebody in advising, then you have to go to one building. If you want to go talk to somebody in financial aid, you have to walk across campus to talk to somebody in financial aid. I don't think that they would have to create a new building. I really do believe that within the buildings that they have, you could create a seamless model so students don't get so frustrated when they are trying to go from one area to the next. And here is an organizational chart, the one that I just talked about. And as you can see, you've got the 4 leads, the associate VPs and the executive directors underneath the senior vice president. And then you can see the programs that are underneath each of those. Now I'm going to move on and go to Sacramento City College. Sacramento City College is located, as I said previously, in Sacramento, California. It is one of the oldest institutions of higher learning in Sacramento, being established in 1916. It is a large community college housing over 24,000 students. It is a 2-year community college. They focus on academic, vocational training, basic skills programs, and have over 212 degrees and certificate programs. And this is one of the buildings, one of their older buildings that you can see in the background. Now, their student services, they have 22 student service units. And when I looked at their mission and goals, one of the goals that they discussed that I thought pertained to what we were talking about in this discussion board is that one of their goals is to partner across student service units assessing common learning themes. They have a SEC West Sacramento Center where some of their advising and counseling takes place. For new students, this is kind of their set program. Students will apply. They must take an online orientation. I could not see anywhere where there was an orientation that was face-to-face. It was all online. When they have done that, then the students will take their English and math assessments. And then they will go to a new student counselor workshop. They will create their education plan, and then they will register. There is a Summer Success Academy that is almost what we would call a bridge program to get students in and out of the system a little bit quicker. In trying to compare the two, they do have 2 learning communities. Their learning communities focus on a college success class with math or English, and I believe those math and English classes were developmental. And then they have a Puente project, which is where they work closely with an advisor, an English instructor, and a mentor in the business community. I do believe that that was just one learning community, so that really only pertain to a small number of students per semester. Actually, both of these learning communities did not seem to be widespread or have many sections per semester. The model of student affairs practice that I believe is being implemented here is what we would call the student service model, where they have a manage and leadership perspective. The services work together to provide quality programs and services with close coordination of like units. I did not see, besides those very small learning communities, any integration across disciplines, especially with academic affairs. The assumptions are that there is, again, like I said, minimal integration with academic units. And why do I think the organization is as it is? It is a very large community college. It is a 2-year community college, and I believe just with the largeness of it, and again, part of that too is that the organization is deep. The staff wears a lot of hats. So I think that because they have a lot of jobs, one of their goals in just working together is probably important. They have one vice president, an associate VP, and 2 deans. Underneath those deans are 13 to 15 programs. And underneath those programs, there's approximately 5 to 8 leads, and a couple of those wear a lot of hats and have to do a lot with a lot of different programs. So I have a feeling that's probably why they have a focus on a student services model. What would I change and why? I would create a larger partnership with academic departments. It doesn't seem to me in their model that there is much integration between the two, and I think it would provide for a more seamless student experience if that was the case. I would suggest faculty advisors to help because, again, there's a lot of people that wear a lot of hats, and I bet faculty would be able to help with that shortage of staff. I also believe that the first year experience that would include faculty and academic departments would be good for this college. And hopefully that coordination can lead to more success for those students. Here is the organizational chart. Again, you can see the vice president up above, the associate vice president, and then the 2 people underneath them. And again, underneath those you have people that wear plenty of hats. So it is more deep than it is wide. So just to recap, the similarities that I see is they do focus on a first-year experience for their students. They both have learning communities, but they are very, very different. One is a residential focus for freshmen, and the other one focuses on academic and student services. They do have a student retention focus for those first-year students. As far as the differences, NAU focuses more across all areas, SCC across student services. NAU has a seamless learning model, SCC has the student service model. They do have mandatory experiences. NAU has a face-to-face orientation, SCC is online. And they're advising. NAU does have faculty advisors, and SCC has none. Thank you. Hope you learned a little bit about these colleges.